Alrighty, so another midweek action is in the books, and like the last midweek action, I am going to do pretty much a one video review of all of the midweek action, as we got 12 games that happened in match week number 16, and there were definitely some upsets and big surprises in terms of these midweek action, and that include the two best team in the league and the top two team in the Supporters Shield going down with a loss against opponents that were struggling in the league. And we'll start off with the first big surprise. And that, of course, is Cincinnati versus Nashville. So coming into this game, of course, Nashville, they've been winless for the past couple of games, and during that process, they, of course, fired Gary Smith, but they got their first win against Cincinnati in this one, and they give Cincinnati a little taste of their own medicine in terms of how it feels to be the home team and lose a game to a team that scored two quick goals to get all 3 points on the road. Now, in the first half, Willis would deny Oriano as that was the game first shot before Mukhtar fires it wide from long range. Valenzuela then puts it wide from close, as I thought it was a lively start for both of these teams looking for the opening goal. Willis then denied Kelsey from close before Saltano tipped more shots over. But then in the 25th minute, Nashville takes the lead, and it's Jack Mayer. He doesn't score a lot of goals, but when he does score, you know it's going to be coming from the set piece, and you know Nashville is very dangerous on the set piece. I mean, everybody talk about Zimmerman being the main target, but don't forget about Jack Mayer. He can score those set piece goal too. So he scored here from Mukhtar to get Nashville 1-0 lead, and then 4 minutes later, they doubled the lead as Schaffelberg would score from Mukhtar to make it 2-0 in favor of Nashville. And yeah, that's one that Salentano probably should have done better. I mean, as good as Salentano has had this season, I talked about the same thing last season where yes, he has had some great moments, but he's also had some of these games where he has some of these goals that he let go that you would say that he probably should have done better, and this is one of those. One, it wasn't really well he hit from Schaffelberg. One that, in terms of the caliber of Salatano is as a goalkeeper in this league, that's one that he wants to have back. So yeah, that give it a 2-0 lead in favor of Nashville. And as I said, the shocker is definitely on as Nashville is definitely giving Cincy a taste of their own medicine in terms of scoring two quick goals on the road. That's been kind of something we've seen a lot with Cincinnati on the road, and now they get the feeling of what it feels like when they give up two quick goals to their opposition, that is the road team. Kelsey then looked for a response, but he missed wide there, and then Bunbury missed wide on the other end on the doorstep of goal. Buka then missed wide from close range. Once again, both of these teams which exchanging chances. There was a lot of chance for both of these teams, and certainly good amount of chance for Cincinnati to score a goal in this one. But we do head to halftime with Nashville leading 2-0 in the second half. Speaking of Zimmerman, he missed wide on the header there before Mayer would miss wide on the doorstep of goal as he was looking for his second. And there was no doubt that Nashville started the second half strong. They were looking for a third goal because you know that two goals might not be enough against the Cincinnati team, especially how hot they have been on the attack the last couple of games. Oriano then puts one into the Bailey before Willis denied Santos from close. Kelsey would hit it right to Willis as Cincinnati was starting to press for the equalizer. And Nashville was starting to do their usual thing, just sitting in a low block and hope that they can protect a two-goal lead. Ruka would then puts it wide from long range before Miaska puts it wide on the header. And then Santos has a bicycle kick attempt that was clear off the line by Coleman before Acosta would puts it high from the free kick, and you just had a sense that as much as it was all Cincy, maybe this was just one of those nights where the finishing is just not there. It can happen to the best of the team, and right now it seemed like that was the case. And now the question is, can they figure out this rigid low block that this Nashville team has had? And even though I know Nashville, in terms of their low block, is not as compact and as strong as what we've seen a couple of years ago, where a couple of years ago, especially under the early days of Gary Smith, when Nashville puts on a low block on you, especially late in the game, yeah, good luck in terms of trying to score on that because they're pretty much unbreakable. Buka then puts it over from long range, and I think this game kind of showed a little bit of it because Cincinnati really had problems in terms of trying to break down just an absolute wall of a low block that Nashville put near the end of the game. And in the end, they walk away with a 2-0 victory. They get their first win ever since Gary Smith fired, as they get also a rare win too on the road, especially against Cincinnati, as it's not very often you see teams walk into TKO Stadium and get all 3 points. But the shots in this one, 22 shots compared to 11 that Nashville has, 3 shots on goal compared to two or not two, I'm sorry, six that Cincinnati has had. 16 shots off target, or not 16 shots, 10 shots off target with a free that Nashville has had. Again, those numbers are very small because I really want to fit it in because I was running out of room to after putting so much notes. 5 shots that was blocked with a free that Nashville has. And possession wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that Nashville has. So yeah, we'll see if this could be a defining win for Nashville. Again, not many teams able to go to TKO to get a win, and this is definitely impressive. Knocking off the team that was a supporter shield contender. And for Cincinnati, again, it's just one of those games where even though they didn't play badly in this one, they just couldn't finish. In this game, and they miss a big opportunity to get themselves at the top of the supporter shield standing. Because moving on in the next match, it's Miami and Atlanta. So a couple of days ago, I made that 9-game winless run. Talk about Atlanta and this miserable 9-game winless run that they are on. And I have a feeling Atlanta probably watched that video, and they only went to Miami, the hottest team right now, along with Cincinnati, and pull off a stunning 3-1 win against a team that had Messi and friends. So you're welcome, Five Stripes fans, in terms of me making that video. And I would also like to say that by no means this was a fluke whatsoever. I mean, this was a game where Atlanta won 3-1 in this one, but this could have been easily 5 or 6-1 if Atlanta was even more clinical in this game. Now early on, we had a moments of the first 40 minutes of this game where there wasn't really any audio whatsoever, and I actually enjoyed it. The fact that there was no commentators and no, or I shouldn't say audio, but there was no commentator whatsoever, and I enjoyed it because sometimes I would love to watch a game without commentator, and I feel like Apple TV should have that option because that's kind of like almost like an in-stadium experience where when you're at the stadium you're not going to hear the commentators, and sometimes the commentator can be very annoying, especially this year where I feel like the commentary and the play-by-play like team this year, it feels like it has downgraded compared to last season. Though that being said, in the fourth minute, and by the way, the commentator in this game was Jake Zivins and Taylor Twellman, so I'm guessing, yeah, I think everybody, including myself, was happy the fact that they didn't hear them for the first 40 minutes because it's going to be annoying to hear both of them. There's been majority been calling Miami games this season, but in the fourth minute, Messi would miss Hyde on the header before Lennon puts it just wide in the near post. Amada then missed wide from long range. And besides that one Messi chances, I thought Atlanta was the better team early on in this one. They were in control, looking to try to get a goal early. Calendar would deny Abram from close before Williams missed wide on the header. The shots were 12-3 for Atlanta up to that point. So they were definitely dominating in this game. But the question is, can they get a goal? Because you know that if you've been dominant against Miami and you don't take your opportunity, yeah, it's gonna come back to haunt you more times or not. Lobjanidze then hits one right to counter, but then in the 44th minute, Sapa would be on target as he scored here from Muyumba to make it 1-0 in favor of Atlanta. This would be a career day for Saba Lobjanidze. I mean, he hit an absolute banger of a goal here in the 44th minute, and this won't be the last time we'll talk about that in this game. But we do head to halftime with Atlanta leading 1-0. In the second half, Messi would hit one right to Cohen, but then in the 59th minute, he did it again. Saba Lobjanidze, he scored from Lennon to make it 2-0 in favor of Atlanta, almost kind of identical goal and certainly of the first one, and certainly another contention for goal of the week again. But where in the world was the closing down from Inter Miami? I mean, you would think that after what they saw in the first half, that guy that scored that banger of a goal in the first half on us, yeah, maybe we think we need to close him down in the second half or close him down again because, yeah, that was just terrible closing down from Inter Miami. And yeah, that made it 2-0 in favor of Atlanta. That two-goal lead quickly evaporate because in the 62nd minute, it's inevitable. Messi would score from Busquets and Suarez to make it 2-1 in this game, and this is when you're thinking, yep, well, looks like the comeback is definitely on. We've seen this story so many times with Inter Miami. Just because they're 2-0 down in this game or down late, they'll somehow pull off some black magic kind of BS to win the game, and it feels like maybe the fun it was fun while it lasted for Atlanta because yeah, they're now going to be a victim of them blowing a 2-0 lead and ended up losing this game. So that being said, Amada did look to answer, but he missed wide here in the 64th minute. I thought Amada had a good game in this one, even though he wasn't on the score sheet. But that being said, in the 64th minute, Kohan denied Rojas from long range. I thought Kohan had a good game as well in relief for Guzan, who was sent off in the last game. Suarez then puts one right to Kohan in the 66th minute, and you just kind of had a feeling that it was inevitable that Miami not only continue to push for a second goal, but it's going to happen sooner or later, right? But no, instead, in the 73rd minute, Thierry would score from Wiley and Amada to make it 3-1 in favor of Atlanta. And yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much shocked everybody, even Atlanta fans, because that was definitely not according to the script. I mean, I was told that Miami, when they're down 2-0, they're going to somehow come back from that 2-0 deficit to win 3-2, especially after getting a goal from Messi to get themselves back in the game. But instead, yeah, like I said, Atlanta had other ideas. And there was also a question whether or not if that was offside. They said it was not offside. It was very close. And I think this is a prime example for all those people that say Miami gets all the calls, and basically the referee seems like they have to bow down to Miami and give them favorable call. Yeah, this call will basically put all those doubters to bed, or at least somewhat to bed, because I still have a feeling there's going to be those people that still say that, oh, Miami always gets the call and gets the favorable treatment because, yeah, they are Inter Miami after all. But that being said, in the 79th minute, Calendar would deny Mosquera from the near post before Amada missed wide from close. Tierra then looked for his second goal and probably should have scored the second goal because he made a good cut here when in on goal and just missed the target here as Atlanta was pushing for the fourth goal, and Miami backline was just all over the place in this game. Not the first time we've said this season that, again, this team, the only reason why I would say that we haven't talked a lot about the big issue that Miami defense has had this season is because their high end talent on the attack has simply bailed them out. Not in this game though. Mosquera then missed wide from long range before he puts it wide from close. So Evan Mosquera could have easily had a goal in this game. Again, even though it was 3-1 in favor of Atlanta, Atlanta probably could have been 4 or 5-1 up in this game, and would really send a message to the rest of the league that, yeah, maybe those faithful words will be once again spoken for Five Stripes fans. But Wiley then had another opportunity, or the last chance, for Atlanta, but he hits one right to counter in the 5th minute stoppage time. And in the end, Atlanta, a dominant performance in this one over Inter Miami as they win 3-1 in this one, snapping their 9-game winless run and definitely relieved the pressure of Gonzalo Pineda and Carlos Bocanegra. But the shots in this one, 26 shots in this game compared to 13 that Miami has, 8 shots on goal compared to 6 that Miami has, 1 shots off target compared to 9 that Atlanta has. So again, 17 of those 26 shots actually was in on goal, and it wasn't blocked. That just shows you how strong Atlanta has in this game. 5 shots that was blocked for the 6 that Inter Miami has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Atlanta has in this game. And I would argue this is probably one of the worst game that Inter Miami has played this season. Definitely the worst game that they have for Messi and friends in league play, and probably right up there in terms of when they got destroyed 3-0 against Rayados in that second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But for Atlanta, they desperately needed this one. And again, you're welcome, Five Strikes fans, in terms of making that video. I mean, if those that are watching this and been watching my channel for a long time, if you believe in superstition or reverse jinx and stuff like that, then yeah. Again, you're welcome, Five Strikes fans, in terms of making that video, and it clearly has some reverse jinx power to make Atlanta somehow end their 9-game winless run against the best team in the league. And really, the only good news for Miami is that at least Cincinnati didn't win, and they still have the top spot in the Supporter Shield standings. With that being said, moving on in the next match is Montreal versus DC. So this was a pretty fun game, at least in the first half. That is, there was a lot of goals that was scored in this one. Though this was definitely one that Montreal desperately needed wins. I mean, this week we definitely had teams that were struggling in league plays that got a much needed win, and Montreal was definitely one of those teams that got that big win in this one. And they start off strong 5 minutes in as Lassiter would score from Joe-Anthony Vincent to make it 1-0 in favor of Montreal. That was the game's first shot up to that point. And then the second shot of the game saw Sosa had a shot that was crucially blocked by Birnbaum. Montreal was definitely the better team early in this one. They were pushing for the second goal, but instead, in the 29th minute, Anteke would score from Bartlett to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And, this was kind of a weird situation where, Corbo was down in the box. And I can understand why Siwas and Montreal's not happy about this because when a player down, you would expect that referee blow the whistle, especially when he's in the attacking sequence or in the way of the attacking sequence. And actually, Siwas, he's kind of had to almost jumped over his injured teammate to try to make the save, and that's probably the reason why he didn't make that save there. But nevertheless, there's that old rule book saying that, yeah, if it's not a head injury, the referee doesn't need to blow the whistle, and that was definitely not a head injury on Corbo. Though I also won't be surprised if they maybe will rewrite the rule book a little bit. The fact that there's an injured player that is in the attacking sequence, maybe the referee might have to stop play. But then again, the controversy with that rule is that, well, that would be that wouldn't be fair with the attacking team that is on the attacking sequence, and as soon as somebody drop down uh in the box and are on the attacking play, then the referee immediately stop play. And if the other team had a promising attack, I mean, yeah, you can see how unfair that could be. So yeah, again, obviously Montreal's not happy. The fans were not happy either. They immediately told the referee that he really sucked because of calling that controversial moment. But the good news for Montreal, they did get their lead back in this one, as in the 34th minute, Sanusi Ibrahim, he scored from Juan to give Montreal a 2-1 lead. Dahome did look for an answer, but he missed wide there. But then in the 38th minute, Montreal made it 3-1 in this game, as Charnier would score from Lassiter after a nice work set piece goal here from Montreal. As it was Lassiter that basically set this one for Charnier. I'm surprised teams don't try that more often, where on the free kick they might just kind of pass it short and allow one of their teammates to strike from long range, and that basically gives a chance for you to shoot this one away from the wall. I've seen this happen a lot of time when I play FIFA, where the opposition team always does this when they're about to take a free kick, and I'm just kind of surprised that I don't see it more often uh, in in real life. But nevertheless, that made it 3-1 in this game. Tahome did look for an answer again, but he was denied by Siwas. But just 1 minute later, Benteke would get the answer, as he scored here from Stroud to make it 3-2 in this game. So you're thinking, well, this could be a game where DC could come back and it could be a barn burner heading into the second half, right? Well, unfortunately, Patella would get his second yellow card of the game. So yeah, DC's chances of trying to come back from a 3-1 deficit was definitely hugely reduced, with them being down to 10 men for the remaining of the second half. Speaking of the second half, as we head to halftime 3-2 again, I was thinking maybe this is a barn burner. It didn't quite work that out in the second half. Ibrahim would then miss wide from long range. Not much chances really created in the second half compared to the first. Ibrahim had another chance, but he hits the side 19 from a tight angle. But then in the 73rd minute, Ibrahim would score. He scored from Lassiter to make it 4-2 in favor of Montreal. Yankov almost made it 5-2, but he hits this one right to Bono, and it just kind of felt like it was a training session for Montreal at stop Saputo. They were just knocking the ball around. DC clearly gave up and doesn't want to be there. And in the end, it was Montreal with a 4-2 win in this one. Shots in this one, 11 shots compared to 13 that DC had. Both team had 5 shots on goal, 4 shots off target for the 2 that DC had, 6 shots off blocked for the 2 that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that DC has in this game. And while there is still some concern for Montreal, especially defensively in this game, at least they did get a big win to end this winless run and this bad run of form that Laurent Courtois team has been on. But for DC and for Troy Lesesne, this is definitely one of their worst game this season, and Troy Lesesne will not be happy in terms of how this game turns out. With that being said, moving on into the last game on this board, and we're going to change the board 3 times because every single board will feature four games. But in the last game on this board, we got the Red Bulls and Charlotte FC, and we had an hour-long weather delay at halftime in this game, and that absolutely changed. Was how this game actually turned out, and was the story of this game, because after that weather delay, it was night and day of how both of these teams play. And in some way, it was almost a tale of two halves in terms of how this game turns out. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Neelis heads it wide from close before the post denied Ajiman from close range, as the shots were 2-1 for the Red Bulls early on in this one. Though there was really not much chances that was created, and that kind of felt like it was a very Charlotte FC kind of game because, Charlotte is a team that, in the last couple of games, while they haven't been playing the prettiest brand of soccer under Dean Smith, they've been playing this grind out kind of soccer. That is the reason why they are a team that is just hard to break down. In fact, they were coming into this game after not conceding a goal in the last 5 games. Cornell would then deny Abada from close range before Bronico missed wide from long range. Charlotte was on the front foot again, and they were creating some chances. But the question is, can they capitalize with a goal to take the lead? They don't do so. So we do head to halftime scoreless in this game, and that was a huge downfall for Charlotte in this one, not able to capitalize their chances. That also is a theme in terms of this week, and really kind of a theme in general in this game, where if you don't capitalize or your opportunity, especially when you're the road team, yeah, it's gonna come back to haunt you. Because as we head to the second half, as I mentioned, there was an hour-long delay because of weather, and that completely changed the momentum of this game because the Red Bulls now start to press for the opener. Kalina with the 9 Frostburg from close range before Carmona pulls it wide from long range. Again, the Red Bulls, they came out the stronger side coming out of the weather delay. Carmona then hits it right to Kalina. But then on the other end, Ajima was in on goal there, and he missed that one wide. And then Ajima was in on goal again, and he trying to round Cornell, but unable to hit it into the empty net. If Patrick Argyman is still going to be the leading number 9 of the Charlotte team, and if Charlotte is not going to get a number 9, which I'm assuming they're probably going to get sold, though, well, their old friend Kale Schwadetsky looks like he could be back to the Charlotte team because I've heard there's news that it seems like he's going to be coming back after the club that he's currently on loan from it decided to not trigger the purchase option. So yeah, that's definitely a great weapons for Charlotte to have, especially how Schwadutsky was really dangerous for the Charlotte team. Maybe he'll play into that number 9 role. Although I don't think so. I think Schwadutsky probably is going to play in that 10 role, and Algerman plays in that 9 role if Charlotte decide not to sign a DP number 9. And yeah, Ajuman's got to prove that that's the case because yes, he has had some good game, but he's also had these kind of games where he just miss chances, and that's kind of just asking a lot of Charlotte fans to demand their front office to sign a DP number 9. Though, as I said, Charlotte has woke up. They were looking to try to get the opener. Manuel would then miss wide on the header, but then in the 74th minute, the Red Bulls would get the opener, and this would be the first goal that Charlotte has conceded in almost over 500 minutes. As Frostberg would score an amazing free kick here to make it 1-0 in favor of Charlotte, and then just 2 minutes later, he would score again, this time from Morgan and Edelman to make it 2-0, and then it would be 3-0 as Reyes would score from Tokens from the corner, and the floodgates just completely blown open. And that Charlotte defense, as I mentioned, having given them a goal in the last 5 games, it was blown apart because after them scoring conceding for the first time. And then Cornell would deny Van Zier from close range. So this was almost 4-0 as the Red Bulls were just running riot up to this point. Though on the other end, Cornell, or actually, I'm sorry, it was Kalina, the one that denied Van Zier. Cornell obviously did not deny his own player. But on this end, Cornell did deny Bender from close range, though in the 6-minute stoppage time, Bender does get on the score sheet. He scored from Anjiman to make it 3-1 in this one. Came over the deflection too. So a little unfortunate there for Carlos Cornell to not get his clean sheet in this one. But what is not unfortunate is the Red Bulls in terms of this game because they get the win in this one. A 3-1 win against Charlotte. Shots in this one, 15 shots committed, 9 that Charlotte has had, 5 shots on goal committed, 7 that the Red Bulls had, 3 shots off target committed, 2 that Charlotte has, 4 shots that was blocked with 1 that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession the Red Bulls has in this game. So yeah, big win for the Red Bulls against a team that, like I said, Charlotte has had a really good run in this last 5 games. So like I think they've been unbeaten in the last 5 games, and I think they are because when you don't concede a goal in the last 5 games, yeah, you're going to go on an unbeaten run. So yeah, again, big win there for the Red Bulls, but for Charlotte, again, if you just don't look at what happened in the second half, they actually play very well in this one. That's why the second half exists, and that Dean Smith team just never really adjusts well after that hour-long weather delay. And then once their defense got exposed, oh boy, it looked like something similar to what we saw last season under Latanzio, where the defense was just completely blown apart by this Red Bulls side late in the second half. That being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the next 4 games of the review for match week number 16 in terms of these midweek action. So moving on, we got the Union and Toronto FC. So the good news for Philly is that their losing streak has come to an end, and even a better news, they kept a clean sheet in this game, which it's been a while since they were able to do so. Bad news is the winless run continue, and so is the winless run at home as they get a 0-0 draw in this one against Toronto. And the first 15 minutes, if you missed the first 15 minutes of this game, good news, you didn't miss much. There was no shot for both of these teams. Not much really happened. It was a snooze fest in the first 15 minutes. Ura did had the first shot of the game, but his shot was blocked in the 18th minute before Etienne on the other end puts it just wide after just a bad giveaway from the Union. Petretta then puts it high from long range before Semlet denied Etienne from close, and then Benedeschi would heads it over from close range as Toronto has most of the chances, but again, just like what I said about Charlotte, can they capitalize? Because when you're the road team and you've been the better side, you got to capitalize your opportunity. Benedeschi then missed an absolute sitter from 4 yards out. Yeah, that is one that he's going to be thinking about, especially after this game, because with the caliber he has, that's probably in the back of net. And I think that play kind of sums up Benedeschi at least early in the season where he just couldn't buy a goal. But lately, you were expecting with the way that Benedeschi has been red hot, that's in the back of the net most of the time, but very unlucky to not score there. And then Wagner had a rare chance for the Union, but he missed wide in the 44th minute. And we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Benedeschi just missed wide after just another giveaway for the Union. By the way, Insigne didn't play in this game because he had to fly back to Italy for some family reason. But in terms of the Union and their turnover, yeah, it's been a problem at least in this one because that's twice that they almost conceded a goal because of bad turnover. So that being said, Johnson denied Bedoya on the doorstep of goal, and then Sullivan flashed one wide after TFC themselves also turned the ball over it in their own end. Benedeschi then puts it wide from close before he hits one right to Semlet in the 81st minute. And really, as the time winds down, TFC continued to push for the opening goal. They looked like they were the more likely team to get the win in this one, which a couple of years ago, or at least from even as soon as last year, that would be unthinkable when the Union are playing at home. The Union just looked flat throughout this game, and that kind of sums up this winless run that they've been on lately. But in the 82nd minute, Semlet would deny Marshall Ruddy in the near post. And yeah, in the end, it ends in a scoreless draw in this one. The shots in this one, 11 shots for the 13 that Toronto has, 3 shots on goal for the 1 that the Union has, 5 shots off target for the 3 that Toronto has, 5 shots that was blocked for the 4 that Toronto has, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to the 49% possession that Toronto has in this game. So yeah, TFC, I think they'll be happy that they got a point in this one, playing relatively well. But I know no, in John Herman's line, he would kind of wish that they got 3 points because, again, they were the better team in this one against a Union side that, again, like I said, the good news for them is that they ended this winless run. They finally got a point and they get a clean sheet, which, again, in season past, that would be just kind of a regularity for Jim Curran team. But this season, I mean, they have just been giving up goals at will in these past couple of games. So it's good news that they kept a clean sheet. But also now it seems like the goals have dried up for them once again, and yeah, they got to get things going because this team, with all the expectation that they have so far this season, this has not been a great start to the season, and really not been a great run for Jim Curtin's side in these last couple of games. That being said, moving on in the next match, so this is another surprise. As Austin was taking on the Timbers, and Austin have been playing relatively well in the last couple of games, but yeah, this was a game where yeah they kind of had a little bit of taste of their own medicine in terms of what it feels like when they face against a road team that pretty much did almost nothing throughout this game, and yet somehow found their way of getting a 2-0 lead because of set pieces and scoring from the spot. Now, in the 10th minute, Valencia would put it over from long range before a penalty was given to the Verdes as Chara brought down Driussi in the box. So here comes Driussi, steps up to take the penalty. Antimus says no, he denied him from the spot, and this has been a problem for Austin and for Driussi this season. I mean, Driussi has always been a lethal penalty kick taker for Austin, but this season, man, he's been really struggling from the spot. I mean, I think this is his second or third miss he has from the spot this season. I even wrote Austin and Driussi PK woes continue in this game. No, Driussi didn't try to make amends in the 18th minute, but his shot was blocked by Rodriguez, and then Burrow puts it wide from close in the 24th minute. It was all Austin up to this point, but again, can they get that opening goal despite them being dominant? Well, Driussi looked like he did in the first minute of stoppage time, but James Pantemis doing his best Maxime Crepeau impression. He absolutely robbed Driussi from close range in this game. This was definitely one of the best game that James Pantemis has played uh, not only this season but really in the last couple of years. And that save was huge too because on the other end, a free kick that was given to the Timbers. Here comes Evander, and he absolutely buries it. And we know Evander can score some wonderful free kick, but even then, this was just an amazing free kick. Definitely in contention for goal of the week, just from such a long way out. The fact that he was able to still get enough power to bend that to the top right to pass Stuver. And keep in mind, Stuver has been very good this season. So to beat a caliber of a goalkeeper like Stuver this season with that long range free kick, take a bow, Evander. He puts the Timbers up 1-0, and that would be the scoreline, despite the fact that again the Timbers they basically did nothing in the first half. And by the way, that Evander shot was only their second shot of the game, and they take a 1-0 lead. In the second half, Hindsight would puts it high from close range before Wolf would hits one right to Pentimus as Austin was pressing it once again, trying to get the equalizer now. Ringwood hits the side netting from close range, and then on the other end, again, just completely against the run of play, a penalty was given to the Timbers as Heinz Ike brought down Anthony in the box. That allowed Jonathan Capacito Rodriguez to score from the penalty spot, and he does. So yeah, that made it 2-0 in favor of the Timbers. Again, that was only what the third shot for the Portland Timbers in this game, and yeah, they're leading 2-0 against an Austin team that were by far the better team. And that being said, they actually almost made it 3-0 when Mora missed a sitter there, and he's really fortunate that the flag went up because if the flag didn't went up, that would be a huge missed opportunity there for the Portland Timbers. And as the time winds down, you can see the Timbers started going with their bread and butter. They were starting to sit back and counter, and that kind of almost worked to a treat. As in the 82nd minute, Stewart actually denied Mora on a lightning counter attack there from the Timbers, and then hindsight went miss wide from long range in the 5th minute stoppage time. And yeah, in the end, the Timbers, despite they didn't really have a lot of chance in this one, they'd still walk away with a 2-0 win against Austin. If you want to see a classic game where one team took their chances and they win and the other didn't, despite having more of the chances, this is a classic example of that. As the shots in this one, 14 shots for the 8 that the Timbers had. Both teams had 3 shots on goal, 6 shots off target for the 2 that the Timbers had, 3 shots on blocked for the 5 that Austin has, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to the 41% possession that the Timbers has in this game. And I'm not sure if this result is enough for the Timbers to go above the red line, but they're very close in terms of doing so. They definitely have played much better ever since that they ended that long 9-game winless run in a very controversial way. But for Austin FC, very frustrating. I mean, again, this is the classic example of if you don't take your opportunity when you're the more dominant side and you let the opposition have that one chance and they score, it's no wonder why you end up on the losing side. With that being said, moving on in terms of the next game, is Chicago versus Orlando City. So yeah, I don't think either of these teams were looking for a point splitting game because both of these teams desperately need points, and you could say that this was kind of a desperation derby of this midweek. And anytime when you have a desperation derby that ends in a draw, it does not help both these teams. It also doesn't help when the Fire gave up the first goal just 4 minutes into this game. As Facu Torres, who has really struggled this season, and boy does he need this goal as he scored here to give Orlando a 1-0 lead. And really, you can thank the Fire defense for this because, yeah, this was just a peak Fire goal to concede. And cue the Benny Hugh theme music, too. I mean, just the Fire. They try to clear the ball away from their box like, what, 5 or 6 times? And I think twice it hits their own teammate there. That is probably the most peak Fire goal to concede, and just almost Exhibit A of what happened when you don't clear the ball in your own box, and eventually you would concede. But that being said, in the 17th minute, Galese denied Barlow as the flag went up, And then Kuipers would put it wide from close as I thought the Fire was starting to push to get the equalizer. Tiran would miss wide from close range before Angulo on the other end missed wide from long range. And then Suke would put it one high from long range. And then Galese would deny Navarro from close range. Again, the Fire getting the opportunity, but the theme, as I mentioned a couple of times already in this review, you know, better team doesn't mean that they will always end up on the winning side and eventually do get that goal because yeah, the story of this season for the Fire is that they have been very bad in terms of finishing and scoring goals, and it seems like we're on another game that could be the case. But we do head to halftime with Orlando leading 1-0. In the second half, Kuipers would put one into Lake Michigan. Not much really happened in the beginning of the second half with lots of whistle and foul, but then in the 70th minute, Chicago does get the equalizer as Hugo Kuipers would score from Haile Selassie to tie the game up at one apiece, and yeah, that's one that Galese should done better. Galese has not had a good season for Orlando, and this is the second time that has happened. He has not looked like the same goalkeeper that he was when he came into this league, and here this is one that he wants to have back because it wasn't really a good goal to concede, especially with the way that Kuipers didn't really hit that one strong, and again, Galese he absolutely should have done better in terms of that sequence. Dean would then put it wide from long range before Montreal on the other end would have a rare opportunity for Orlando, but he hits one right to Brady. Gutierrez then curls it wide there before Enrique looked to seal one for Orlando late, but he missed wide there. But yeah, in the end, in a desperation derby, it ends in a 1-1 draw, and it's only fitting that both of those goals that was scored in this game just kind of came from just some very preventable situation, both from both the goalkeeper and defensive standpoint, and it's kind of no wonder why both of these teams are really struggling this season. Shots in this one, 18 shots for the 8 that Orlando has. Both teams have 2 shots on goal, 11 shots off target for the 2 that Orlando City has, 4 shots that was blocked for the 5 that the Fire has, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Orlando City has in this game. And again, in a desperation derby, whenever it ends in a draw, it's not going to please anyone because both of these teams desperately need a win to turn around their season, and they don't get it in this matchup. Now, moving on in terms of the next match, I cannot believe I'm about to say this, but in the year of 2024, Andrew Tarbell had probably the best goalkeeping performance that we have seen a goalkeeper have done all season long. Because yeah, this was a game where not only Houston stole this one against the Rapids, but if it wasn't for Tarbell, scoreline probably would have been a lot different than the 3-1 win that Houston had in this game. Now, early on, Navarro would hit one right to Tarbell as that was the game first shot before Lawfusson would miss wide from long range before Ronan would hit one right to Tarbell in the 12th minute. As Colorado was on the front foot early, they were pushing to try to get the opener. Carrasquilla with Houston's fourth opportunity, but he missed wide there before Tarbell. This would kind of be a foreshadow of his night where he just had an incredible double save there, first robbing Navarro there, but somehow, it falls to Cabral, and all Cabral need to do is put that one into the back of net. But remember, this is Kevin Cabral. Again, he has not had a lot of luck in front of goal, though even then, this was just an incredible save here from Tarbell. Like, somehow, in some way, he got up just in time to rob Cabral that looked like he had an empty net to shoot on the rebound. And then he would deny Bassett from close in the 36th minute, Tarbell. And again, Tarbell is the only reason why Colorado is not 2 or 3-0 up, because you could argue the Rapids should easily been 2 or 3-0 up to this point. And instead, it would be 1-0 in favor of Houston as Bassi would score from Carrasquilla to give the Dynamo a 1-0 lead, just completely against the run of play. And if you're a Rapids fan and you're seeing this, you probably play FIFA a lot, yeah, that gives you PTSD of all those Ultimate Team kind of moments where you dominate against your opposition, but your opposition goalkeeper just went Manuel Neuer on you, and now next thing you know, you can see the goal on the other end. Ronan then looked to answer, but he hits it straight to Tarbell before Herrera would put a stinger that was actually denied by Stefan. And we do head to halftime with the score 1-0 in favor of the Dynamo, despite the fact that the Rapids, I mean, I don't know how they're down now 1-0 if it wasn't for the heroic of Tarbell. Then we continue in the second half, as after Artur would hits one right to Stefan, penalty was actually given to the Rapids, and this was probably the only bad moment that Tarbell has in this game as he brought down Cabral in the box, which allow Navarro to score from the penalty. But lately Navarro, who has been very good in terms of penalty, at least during his time with the Rapids, he now misses last two kicks as Tarbell was able to deny him from the spot here, but unfortunately this time he couldn't prevent the rebound there from Mahajevic. So yeah, the Rapids well they deserved getting the tying goal. But that was be the only time they would beat Tarbell because Tarbell was not going to allow another goal. He was definitely not faced after giving up that equalizer because he would deny Bassett again off of a deflection in the 56th minute. I mean, I'm pretty sure Cole Bassett and a lot of this Rapids team are thinking, what do they need to do to beat Tarbell besides from the spot in this game? That's already the eighth save for Tarbell up to that point. I mean, I was already thinking like, are we gonna reach the mark that Maxime Crepeau has a couple of years ago when he had like 14 save against the Quakes and the Quakes put like 43 shots on the Whitecaps. But in the 66th minute, Aliu would miss wide from close range, and also for those that don't know, that actually did happen, and I actually was in attendance for one of the game. I think it was 2019 that of course has happened. It was so crazy to see that the Quakes had 43 shots in that game, and I think they had like 30 something thing by the time we had it to halftime. They absolutely putting a shooting gallery in front of Crepeau. And by the way, the Quakes did win that game if you're asking. But in the 66th minute, Aliu would miss wide from close range, and then the 70th minute, Latif Blessing would score for the second consecutive game. And while this was definitely a great volley there from Latif Blessing, yeah, Stefan, he definitely would want to have this one back. I mean, he punched this one, didn't really do a good enough punch there to clear this one all the way. And again, Blessing, while it was a great volley, he scored. That's one that Stefan probably should have done better, and that's not the first time we have said this about Zach Steffen. He has not had a good season for the Colorado Rapids in his return to MLS. Laraz then hits one right to Tarbell in the 77th minute, and then in the 80th minute, Kowalczyk would call it a game as he scored here to make it 3-1 in favor of the Dynamo. But Andrew Tarbell was not done because he would deny Harris in the 84th minute, and then on the follow up, Bassett would miss wide there. And up to this point, you can see this Rapids team, especially the attack, they were completely broken. Like they just simply cannot beat Tarbell from open play in this game. And as a result, the Dynamo and certainly Tarbell in big ways. They win 3-1 against the Rapids, and this is despite the fact that the Rapids outshot Houston 17-11, and the Rapids had 11 shots on goal in this one compared to 6 that the Dynamo has. Tarbell would finish with 10 save in this game, which I think that's the first time we've seen this season where a goalkeeper have registered double-digit save. 4 shots off target compared to the 2 that Houston has. 3 shots off block for the 2 that the Rapids had. And possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that the Rapids has in this one. And this might also be the first time we might see the player of the week goes to a goalkeeper. I mean, I know it's very rare to see goalkeeper get the player of the week award, but because of the fact that I don't think there was a hat trick that was scored this week, I think you got to say Tarbell at least should be in contention because he had just an absolute monster game. And again, I can't believe I'm saying this in the year of 2024. And after seeing how Andrew Tarbell has been just kind of become a little bit of a journeyman in the last couple of years, not getting a lot of start ever since he was traded away from the Quakes. I would never imagine him having this kind of game, but yeah, this is definitely a career game for him and one that the Rapids will be just absolutely kicking themselves. I mean, really, these last two games, they have to be kicking themselves. The fact that they didn't get a win in both of these games. The game against Minnesota, they were the better team, only got a point out of this, and then in this game where they just almost putting a shooting gallery in against Houston, they just couldn't solve Tarbell in this one, and they just unfortunately ran into a goalkeeper that just happened to have the best game of his career against them. But that being said, I am now going to switch boards one more time to look at the final 4 games to finish up the review for match week number 16. So moving on in the next game is Sporting KC and the Vancouver Whitecaps. So the good news for Sporting KC is that they didn't give up a late goal in this game that would actually turns out to be the winning goal of this game. The bad news is they did still give up a late goal in this one, and they also never had a lead in this one, as now the winless run has officially reached 9 games for Sporting KC, and they're still stuck at the bottom of the Western Conference table. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Davis hits it right to Takaoka before I thought Sporting was on the front foot. They were pushing for the opener. Gato would miss wide from close, and then Raposo on the other end hits the side netting from close. Takaoka then denied Shelton from close, and then White had a chance from close, but he heads it high in the 18th minute. As I thought both of these teams would start to exchange some chances early on. Rosero would hit it wide from the corner before Agata hits one right to Takaoka. But then in the 39th minute, Ryan Gold would score the opening goal for the Whitecaps. So yeah, that made it 1-0, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half. In the second half, Brown would miss wide on the header before he missed wide again just 3 minutes later from close range. Vancouver was on the front foot. They were looking to get that second goal, and this is when Peter Ramirez decided that he was gonna make some substitution. I know that feels like a surprising thing to do because that's been one of the criticism for Peter May's team this season of them lack of using the substitution. But in one of the rare occurrences, he decided to go a line change and decided to put Polito, Russo, and Libo and put his starters into this game. Unfortunately, his starters has not been great so far this season, so it's kind of unsurprising that Sporting KC didn't really do too much with their starters in this game. Though that being said, Rosario did hit one right to Takaoka in the 68th minute before Brown would hit it wide from close range, and then Pico would hit it wide from close in the 77th minute. And this is where you started to kind of had a concern if you're a Whitecaps fan of, oh boy, it's still 1-0, and I know Sporting KC is not known to score late goals. They're known to give up late goals, but yeah, just sitting on that 1-0 lead, that doesn't look comfortable. And then again, you realize that Sporting KC loves to give up late goals, and they gave up another late goal here as Ryan Gold would score for the second time in this game, and it came off with just a terrible giveaway there from Sporting KC, and especially from Tim Libo. So, talk about those starters didn't make an impact for the Sporting KC side. In fact, they made things even worse for Sporting KC in this game. So that being said, in the second minute of stoppage time, John East would score from Shelton to give the Sporting KC a little hope late in this game, but it didn't matter because in the end, Vancouver easily hold on to win 2-1 in this game. The boos were once again raining down at Children's Mercy Park. That's now 9 games for a win for Sporting KC. And the shots in this one, 13 shots for the 10 that Sporting KC had, 5 shots on goal for the 2 that the Whitecaps had, 7 shots off target for the 3 that Sporting KC had, 2 shots off block for the 3 that the Whitecaps had, and possession-wise, 61% possession compared to 39% possession the Whitecaps has in this game. And I will definitely be thinking about making a video about Sporting KC and their 9-game winless run, although I'll probably wait until the next game against Minnesota because knowing that I made that 9-game winless uh, video with Atlanta United and they instantly got a win in the next game, and again, if you believe in reverse jinx, or if you believe the jinx, if you watch this channel long enough, yeah, maybe I might think about putting that video off until we'll see how they do against Minnesota United. But for the Whitecaps, oh, they needed this one. And again, honestly, right now it sucks to see it. But if you're a team that is struggling and you haven't been getting a lot of points, Sporting KC is your answer because man, it's been a disastrous season for the Sporting KC side, and who knows if it's going to get better in terms of their weekend game against Minnesota on the road. Now, moving on in the next match is the Galaxy and FC Dallas. So this game, for the Galaxy, it took a while for them to eventually capitalize in terms of some of the chances that they had. But by the time they did so, they pretty much run away with Dallas in this game. So early on, they did score the first goal of the game as Dejan Jovic continued his incredible season. He scored from Peck and Delgado to give the Galaxy a 1-0 lead. And then he tried to score his second goal not long after, but he hits one right to pass. Peck then missed wide from close as it's just been all Galaxy early on this way. It looked like it was going to be an ugly game with the way the Galaxy are by far superior in this game over Dallas. So, that being said, in the 15th minute, Pass did deny Peck from close range. And then in the 22nd minute, really against the run of play. Delgado would score for the second consecutive game. He scored from Farfan and Ariola to tie the game up at one apiece. Again, just completely against the run of play. It was really the first real attack that Dallas has had, and the ball is in the back of net. And this is, if you're a Galaxy fan, you're worried that with the way that I've already mentioned, a couple of teams have been dominant, but they don't take advantage of their chances, and their opposition being clinical. Does that mean the Galaxy was not going to do well in this game? And again, a little spoiler alert, they would actually eventually finish this game off. Though that being said, Frazier did look to try to get the second for Dallas, but he hits it right to McCarthy. And then they got a penalty, the Galaxy, as Peck was brought down by Pass there in the 32nd minute. And then Joveljic actually puts it into the back of net after Peck actually missed the penalty here. But then after a couple of recycle play, Joveljic would put the ball into the back net. The only problem was Joveljic was in an offside position. So yeah, that goal didn't count it. And again, it was an incredible sequence too, because Paz not only denied Peck from the spot, but he also robbed him on the rebound here for Jovic puts it in. But again, Jovic in an offside position. Goal didn't count. And then the post would deny Yoshida from close range. And again, Galaxy has all the momentum again. But is this going to be maybe one of those nights for the Galaxy where they don't take advantage of their chances? But we do head to halftime with the score tied up at one apiece. In the second half, Musa would hit one right to McCarthy before Peck would hit one right to Paz. McCarthy then denied Ariola from close range as both of these teams were exchanging some chances. It was a bit of an even start. Then the 64th minute, another penalty was given to the Galaxy. This time, it's Peck, the one that was brought down Delgado. So twice in this game, or actually no, it was both Peck and Mark Delgado brought down by Ibiaga there. So yeah, take your pick of which player that Ibiaga actually brought down, because he commits such a bad foul that he brought down two Galaxy players to concede the penalty. But yeah, Jovic of course steps up to take the penalty after Peck missed his previous one, and he made no mistake of this one. He buries it to give the Galaxy the lead again. Pooch trying to make it 3-1, but he missed wide from close range. And then Tomasi looked like he tied it up, but the goal was disallowed for offside, and it was not by much. And again, this is a warning for the Galaxy. Just because you've been the more dominant side, we've seen it this week. There's been a lot of teams, the more dominant sides. It doesn't mean you win the games. And you just kind of had a sense that the Galaxy need a third goal to try to put this game away. Though it did kind of help them the fact that Tafari, of course, got his second yellow card of the game, so Dallas was down to 10 men. Paz would then deny Peck from close range before Peck would deny Yoshida from close, as the Galaxy were looking to put this one away. And they do in the third minute of stoppage time, as Ricky Pooch put this game away for the Galaxy. And so yeah, 3-1 is the final score of this game. The shots in this one, 25 shots for the 8 that Dallas had, 9 shots on goal for the 5 that Dallas had, 6 shots off target for the 7 that or no, not 7, 2 that Dallas had. Dallas only had 8 shots in this game. If they had 7 shot off target and 5 shot on goal, that wouldn't make sense. 1 shot that was blocked for the 9 that the Galaxy had, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to the 45% possession that Dallas has in this game. So yeah, overall, it took a while, but Galaxy does get a much deserved win in this one over a Dallas team that, again, this kind of sums up the season. It's been a struggling season, and you just kind of sense that when they face it against the like of the Galaxy, which is one of the best team this season, especially on the attack, this is not going to be anything that they're going to get coming out of this game. But that being said, moving on into the next game. And the next game we're going to talk about is Seattle and RSL. So this game really kind of screwed up the app and also the website, because I was kind of confused on late in this game when it says Seattle were winning 2-0, but then I look on the goal scoring chart and it looks like Gomez scored the late equalizer for RSL. And again, spoiler alert in terms of that. So I was kind of confused. How is it 2-0 if RSL got the late equalizer? Well, I'll explain in just a bit. But early on, Fry would deny Gomez from close before there was a penalty that was given to RSL. And then there wasn't a penalty that was given to RSL, as VAR deemed that Luna was actually fouled outside the box by Yamar. But there was no doubt that RSL was on the front foot. They were pushing to try to get the opener. Rui Diaz then tried to chip Beavers there from the halfway line. And not only he missed this one wide, but Beavers actually took a slip there. So imagine if that one was on target. Yeah, that would be not only an amazing goal from Rui Diaz, but not a good moment for Gavin Beavers of how he got back on his lines only to find slip on on the turf. By the way, it was raining in this game, so yeah, definitely that slippery thing was definitely a factor in this. So we then had a period where not much really happened in this one. We fast forward to the 35th minute where Beavers denied Vargas from long range, and then he denied Rodon from long range in the 40th minute, as I thought Seattle was starting to get some um some opportunity. They definitely woke up to push for the opener. Though as I said that, Crooks would miss wide from long range, and then Vera just sliced it wide from close in the third minute stoppage time, and we head to halftime despite chances from both teams scoreless in this game. In the second half, not much really happened in the beginning of the second half. Again, both of these teams may be really struggling to create chances because of the rain. Beavers would then deny Nuhu from close range. So imagine if Nuhu scores there, that only would have been his second career goal for the Seattle Sounders side and would absolutely erupt that Lumen Field crowd. But that being said, that crowd did get erupted in the 68th minute as Albert Rusnak would score against his former team. This time he did celebrate with of this goal, and he kind of almost kind of had to because what a hit this was from Albert Rusnak. Well, I would also say that maybe Beavers probably could have done better there because yeah, I think he did get a hand to that one, and you'll definitely be a little bit disappointed that he didn't make that save. But that being said, in the 81st minute, Fry would deny Arango from close in the 81st minute. This is when RSL started putting the starter in because Chicho Arango actually didn't start in this game. But there was no doubt that Seattle has dropped their lines. They were starting to bunker. They were hoping to try to keep this 1-0 lead, which I thought that was the wrong decision for Brian Schmidt and the Sounders team. Because if you have seen what RSL has done lately, yeah, this team does not give up late in the game. But that being said, in the 85th minute, Arango would miss wide from close range. We then get some coming together after Fry spill a little cross coming in, and then he kind of got contact by one of the RSL players. So yeah, anytime when that happened, and anytime when you a player stomp on an opposition goalkeeper, even by accident or on purpose, yeah, you're definitely gonna draw a crown from the opposition team. But in the first minute of stoppage time, Fry would deny Barajas from close range in the front post, and there was no doubt RSL was throwing the kitchen sink. And this is where again, I know they're the home team, the Sounders, but this is not a great idea for them to just kind of sit back and hope that they can get the 3 points against RSL because RSL has been proven the fact that they have some late game heroics this season. In fact, there's been a lot of times that has happened. But that looked like it was put to bed because in the 6 minute stoppage time, Muswaski would score against his former team. But then they go to VAR to see whether or not if there was a foul in the development of play. And there was. So yeah, the goal was disallowed. And again, this is where it kind of screwed up the app because up to this point the app thought that it was 2-0 in favor of Seattle. They didn't realize that the VAR chopped off the goal, and then by the time that they realized that was the case, this was after when it happened again for RSL once again scoring at the death of this game as Andres Gomez would score here to tie the game up at one apiece. Again, Seattle just not did not clear their lines here. I mean, when you don't clear your lines there, especially in a tactic free zone as we're winding down the clock, that's going to happen. And RSL, once again, some late heroics to salvage a point. But the Sounders did have a last chance because despite the fact that it was only 9 minutes stoppage time, we did have about 3 minutes delay because of VAR. So Rothrock with the last chance of the game, and he just missed high from close range. I mean, that is one that Paul Rothrock will want to have. And certainly the Sounders will want to have that one back because, yeah, in the end, they were just seconds away of getting a massive 3 points against the team at the top of the Western Conference, and seconds away of also seeing the top three teams in the Supporter Shield standings lose this midweek. But RSL did it again. They stole a point right at the death to get a 1-1 draw. The shots in this one, 19 shots for the 17 that the Sounders had, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that RSL had, 7 shots off target for the 4 that RSL has, 7 shots that was blocked for both of these teams, and possession-wise, 46% possession compared to 54% possession that the Sounders has in this game. And again, this is basically a lesson to every team that you simply just cannot not sit back and bunker and hope you can get a all 3 points with a 1 goal lead against RSL. This is a team that is just a special team this season. They have that magic in them every single game, and yeah, again, this is another example of it as they come from behind to snatch a point away right as it looked like their win being run was coming to an end. But for Seattle, very frustrating result. I mean, can you imagine you were 2-0 up and you look like you won 3 points and the goal was disallowed because of a foul on the play, and then just a couple of minutes later you concede on the other end. That is one of the most painful. I'm gonna say loss because they didn't lose this game. One of the most painful 2 points drop that the Sounders have had in recent times. Now, moving on into the last game on this board. Now, of course, it's LAFC versus Minnesota. And don't look now, but LAFC have now gone on a 4-game winning streak. And doing those 4 games, they have conceded 0 goals out of those 4 games. And when that happens, you know LAFC is truly back, and you know they're charging up the standings. In fact, I think they're now up to third place, just behind their inner city rival, the Galaxy. And really, this is another game where Minnesota just didn't show up on the road. Now, in the first half, Tillman would puts it over from long range, as I thought LAFC had most of the possession. Minnesota was elected to sit back. First shot for Minnesota did see Arriaga heads it high before Lloris denied Lud from close range. Murillo then hits it high from close as LAFC continued to dominate possession. The Blues were looking flat again in the midfield and the attack, and once again, just like the game against Colorado, they couldn't get anything going with their passing and on the attack. They were just giving the ball away every time when they get into the midfield whatsoever. Long would then puts one right to Dane Sinclair before Oliveira missed wide after just a bad giveaway from Minnesota, and now it seems like the turnover's becoming a problem for the Loons. And again, this is the last team you want to give the ball away because you know LAFC is a team that love to take advantage of opposition making mistake in their own end. And then a penalty was given to LAFC after DJ Taylor fought down Bawanga in the box. You know, DJ Taylor this season, he's been having a good season, and I think that I know he's been getting a lot of criticism lately because of the way that he's been playing throughout his time with this Minnesota United team. This game will definitely not do himself a favor, and all those DJ Taylor hater from the Loons fan base is going to call it back come back to say that he's not playing well because yeah, just a silly challenge there from Taylor. Walked down Bawanga in the box. Bawanga won the penalty. He takes the penalty and he buries it. So that made it 1-0 in favor of LAFC, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half. And I just had a feeling that yeah, it looked like this one might be done. And I know the Loons has had some late heroics on the road lately, but this is an LAFC team. When they have the lead, they don't usually relinquish that lead, especially when they're playing at home. So we go to the second half with LAFC leading 1-0. In the second half, not much really happened in the second half as the Loons continue to look flat in the midfield and on the attack. Tillman would then hits one right to Dane Sinclair. Minnesota was stuck at 3 shots. Since the 19th minute. They did not have a shot in this game until before since the Lloris save on Love. That just kind of just sums up how toothless this attack is throughout this game. In fact, the fourth shot of the game from the Loons came when Pookie just missed a tap in there from Tapia's flick header. I think Tapia's was the one that counted as a shot because it was off target. I think the stats chart will count that as a shot. But yeah, that was definitely a good half chance for the Loons. Though on the other end, there was a huge shout for a penalty when Bawanga looked like he was pushed off from Boxo. And I gotta say, Minnesota got away with one. That absolutely should have been a penalty for LAFC. And again, for those that say that LAFC always gets the call, and the league kind of favor LAFC whenever they get questionable calls. Well, now I think those folks are probably going to be crawling back to their hole because, yeah, again, this just shows you that, with all these talks of certain team gets favorable referee decision, that's not always true, especially after what we seen in this match with LAFC not getting a call in their favor, and then we saw it happen with Inter Miami as well. Though I think the Inter Miami one was correct. This one I don't think it was correct. But that being said, Oliveira was in on goal in the 70th minute, but this is Kike Oliveira. Whenever he's in on goal, yeah, he's gonna miss wide, and he did. But I also thought, will these missed chances come back to haunt LAFC? Because you know the deal by now, as we're now over an hour into this review about missed chances that can come back to haunt a team that's more dominant. Though that being said, Dane Sinclair would absolutely rob Bawanga from point blank effort, and Dane Sinclair was keeping this Loons team in this game because now it seems like the defense are starting to wear down from this Minnesota team. And then in the 82nd minute, they would concede the second goal as Bogusz would score another amazing goal there. I mean, he is almost like Banger's only Mateus Bogusz these last couple of games because he's been scoring some crazy goals in the last couple of games. And in this one, he gives LAFC a 2-0 lead. I could argue maybe the closing down probably could have been better for Minnesota, especially when you're basically trying to block a shot from Bogut who can score from long range. But that's just one that is that's one that you just kind of have to tip your hat off of him and tip your hat off of a guy that has just been incredible in terms of scoring those long range effort. Chanel then hits it wide from the corner before Lud puts it wide from long range in the first minute stoppage time, which kind of sums up Minnesota's night. And then Camara would score here because, of course, Kai Kamara, I swear, I don't know what is it about him, but he always loved to score against Minnesota. And this looked like it was a history book goal because with this goal, this would have passed Landon Donovan of what used to be the all-time goal scoring chart until Wando, of course, passed it a couple of years ago. But unfortunately, it was not to be because the goal was disallowed for offside. And I didn't write it here, but I was thinking, yeah, I feel like this. It's only fitting the fact that Kai Kamara would score against Minnesota one more time because again, I don't know what is it with him. He always scored against Minnesota, and then doing his short spell with Minnesota, he didn't score a lot of goals for this Loons team. So again, of all the team that he played, I don't know what if he has some vendetta against Minnesota or something. Maybe some vendetta about the time that he was let go of this team. But then that kind of doesn't make sense because Kai Kamara, he's the ultimate journeyman. I mentioned before how many teams that he's been playing throughout his career, and there's no doubt once he retire, I'm definitely making a video about Kai Kamara's career and just talk about probably the greatest journeyman we have ever had in league history. But we but in the end, LAFC with an easy 2-0 win in this one, and the shots of this one, 14 shots for the 7 that Minnesota has, 2 shots on goal for the 6 that LAFC had, 5 shots off target for the 4 that Minnesota has, 3 shots that was blocked for the 1 that Minnesota has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Minnesota has in this game. And again, don't look now, but LAFC is really charging up the table, and right now, the way that they've been playing right now, I mean, I think maybe RSL could challenge them in terms of the West, but right now with the way that they've been playing, yeah, this is a very tough team to to stop if they're playing at their best. But for Minnesota, again, I know these last 2 games they have played some really tough opponent. I mean, playing on the road against Colorado in the altitude is not easy, and facing against an LAFC team that is red hot and haven't conceded a goal in a long time is also not easy. But to put those excuses behind, I am a little concerned. The fact that these last 2 games the team has looked very flat on the attack. And don't let those free goals that Minnesota scored against Colorado fool you. The fact that throughout the game they just look like they did nothing against the Rapids besides those free goals that they score. And I think this upcoming game against Sporting KC could be a big telling story of them not going through a bad winless run because I'm just worried that for the last couple of seasons under Adrian Heath, they always tends to have this bad winless run. And also, not to mention, Eric Ramsey coming into this team, I know he's been bringing a lot of positivity, but it's just because of the new head coach boost. Once that new head coach boost does wear off, yeah, then reality could start to set in. And I hope reality doesn't start to set in for this team. And also just an example of the fact that I do think that if Minnesota want to be a contender this season and want to be up there with some of the best team in the West, they have to get some more reinforcement, especially in the midfield, because the midfield has just been completely dominated by the last 2 opponent um in these last 2 games. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review for match week number 16. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these 12 games that I have just reviewed. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.